Hi again, everyone. This is continuing the Canadian series, and it's the letter D, but featuring the artist, great Canadian band from the 80s and 90s, Doug and the Slugs. Now, Doug was Doug Bennett, and the Slugs were the band. And unfortunately, Doug Bennett passed away a few years ago in the 2000s. And Doug and the Slugs were a very, very, very popular Canadian band during the 80s, especially when they had most of their hits. And the sound of Doug and the Slugs, I mean, to make a comparison, I think it would be a lot like Huey Lewis and the News. Although Doug and the Slugs had humor, they were kind of a humorous kind of nature to their sound and to their lyrics and things. Like I said, this is the first album, 1980, Cognac and Bologna, or Bologna, or Bologna, or whatever you want to call it. A very unappealing looking cover, unfortunately. I don't think I'd put a cover like that in an album, but just shows a bit of their comedic sense, I suppose. Too Bad was the big hit off this. A song called Too Bad. Great entry point for the band. The second album I don't have. I think it was called Wrap It. It didn't have as many hits on it, and I haven't seen it in a long time. Third album, 1983. It's called Music for the Heart of Thinking. And it has more of a new wave kind of cover to it. Very colorful, jagged graphics. Interesting cover. Kind of catchy. The big hit off this album was called Making It Work. And they still play it all the time on the radio in Canada. And the production on this, though, was by Richie Cordell. Excuse me. Richie Cordell was worked with Tommy James and the Shondells in the late 60s. He was a co-writer of a lot of their hits with Tommy James. And also Glenn Kolotkin, who I recall Glenn Kolotkin from the Berserkly label in the late 70s, power pop label with bands like the Rubinoos and Jonathan Richman, Greg Kihn. Great power pop credentials. This is the fourth album. It's called Propaganda. It's from 1984. And this album came with two different covers. There's this one, yellow one with the blue. Like that. And the green one with red. Now the hit off this one, I'm trying to recall the hit off this one, Waiting for You, I believe. And this is, I think, the last vinyl release by Doug and the Slugs, although they had CDs in the early 90s. It's called Tomcat Prowl, which was a bit of a hit. And there's Doug Bennett there on the cover. This was produced by Brian McLeod, who was previously a member of the Headpins and also a member of Chilliwack. The late Brian McLeod, he passed away as well. Back in the 90s, I used to do aerobics, for a couple of years at least. And they used to play Doug and the Slugs at the aerobics classes a lot, and because the music was kind of humorous, it was very bouncy, very danceable, and it was the perfect kind of stuff for doing aerobics too. Thanks for watching.